at that. I can adjust the screen from here. Okay, it barely works, but it does. Right, I was still busy putting that thing on Twitter. I'll go back to putting that thing on Twitter. Snap, I'm not logged into any of that stuff here. Okay, looks like I remembered my Facebook password. Remember my Twitter password as well. Seems like it was wrong. Let's try this one. Nope, wrong. Okay. That one worked. So I make these little daily oracles that are it's like a brief numerology reading based on the numbers of the day, of the date. Today being the 5th of the 15th, well, the 15th of the 5th, excuse me. So I post them on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on my other platforms, along with a link to Twitch and some hashtags. And I post them on Twitter too. Your family, friends, and partner do many things which frustrate you. They also disagree with you on many topics. Notice that likewise, you frustrate and irritate them with your advocacy. So stop. If you want free-flowing energy in your relations and relationships, then be an example and reduce the amount of resistance you create. Don't wait for others to change. Change yourself. So 15 is about resistance within relationships. It's about disagreements, particularly when someone else is trying to force you to see things from their perspective, and like getting angry or starting to belittle if you don't see from their perspective or you don't agree with them. And then the advice that number has for a person is to let people be. It's fine to disagree. And anything that we don't like about others, we can change in ourselves. I have to change it to make it fit on Twitter. Cut things out, change the way it's worded. Change use into just use, change 4s into 4, change 2 into 2 to save characters. Remove all punctuation. You have friends and family many things which frustrate. They disagree on many topics. Notice that you irritate them too, so stop. Be an example and reduce the amount of resistance you create. Don't wait for others to change. Change yourself. Okay, so that's done. Yeah, I've got music playing. Every now and then the craving for the cigarette really hits hard. Most days I don't notice, and there's like 1 or 2 days where it's like unbearable. It's been more than a month, it's almost 2 months since I smoked any tobacco. So at least there's no withdrawal symptoms, that frustration and that desperation and discomfort and claustrophobia and all of those other weird psychological symptoms that come with the withdrawal. None of that's bothering me anymore, which is fantastic. Yeah, still crave every now and then, but I know that if I smoke, then I'll have to go through all of that psychological pain again, and that really sucks. Really fucking sucks. Not worth it. Just not worth it at all. Hey there. Welcome back. I was just talking about how nicotine withdrawal sucks so bad. Because, you know, it's been like 2 months since I smoked any tobacco. The withdrawal is done, but every now and then I get like a day where the craving hits hard. But there's so much frustration and claustrophobia and discomfort that comes with the withdrawal that it's, yeah. Don't want to go through that again, so no amount of craving is going to convince me to smoke. What's this? Wild cards, 10 of swords. 3 of swords. 10 of cups. 10 of swords reversed. Some goals have been brought to a close. I didn't choose to end them, I didn't complete them. We didn't complete them. The universe just like ended our efforts in that, whatever it was, intellectual goals. You know, maybe we were learning about something or trying something out. We had goals. Our goals were to learn something new or accomplish something new, and the universe put a stop to that. 3 of swords in the present. This is like acknowledging ourselves, acknowledging our own part to play, and acknowledging what will be required of us for the future. When it comes to setting new goals or picking up new projects, whatever. Drink more Gren smoothies. Oh, we're talking about like green tea and milk. I don't know what Gren smoothies are. You are cutting down. Amazing. That's how I started. I cut down slowly. I stopped smoking cigarettes altogether, switched to like hand rolling tobacco. I found that encouraged me to smoke less, because if I wanted to smoke I had to roll. I couldn't just pick it up and smoke. Then I ran out of rolling papers, and I decided I'm not going to buy more rolling papers. I'm going to use an apple. I'm going to smoke it out of an apple, which was absolutely shit. So it encouraged me to smoke even less. And yeah, until I was only doing that once a day, making like a little ball of tobacco between my fingers, a little pinch inside an apple, so there's a little space cut out, and then taking you know those skewing sticks, and like poking it into the apple, lining it up with that hole that I've just carved, putting that little bit of tobacco in there and smoking that. And I was doing that just once a day for about 3 days, and then I stopped. I was like, okay, enough is enough now. And then for a whole 2 weeks after that, the withdrawal was just shit. The first 3 days, yeah, pretty bad. They say that the first 3 days are the worst, but there are different degrees of worse as it goes along. Yeah. What I'm struggling with now that I've stopped smoking is when I'm doing something where I would have used to be smoking. Like if I have a glass of wine, then I want to smoke. Or if I'm drawing, if I'm doing art, like you found me doing art the other day. If I'm doing art, I want to smoke, because I'm used to smoking while I'm drawing. Okay, so there's 10 of cups in reverse. What is this? This is saying that our emotions have yet reached their peak. They are yet to reach their peak. We don't want to face it. We're like ignoring it. We've got these feelings of depression, of hopelessness. We've also got feelings of excitement, determination, and we're like putting it in the background. We don't really want to feel it, and that creates negative side effects in our life. It's like, yeah, we start to express it in other ways, in our actions. We stamp our feet, or we break a plate, or it shows itself in other ways, and it's gonna reach like a full point where we can't escape it anymore, and it's gonna be, yeah, don't really know what that's gonna look like, but it's to do with these goals that the universe has taken away from us with this 10 of swords in reverse. Hey, Miss Kokobay. taking cold showers in Nisa, that solved my problem. Every time that I was having a meltdown because of the withdrawal symptoms, to jump into a pool, into cold water, or to get into a cold shower, it would feel like I smoked a whole packet after that. I'd feel perfectly satisfied. Yeah, so this emotional turmoil, we're not feeling it yet. Basically, that 10 of Cups is saying we're not feeling the full extent of our emotional response. Whatever we were working towards, we weren't able to complete it. The universe took it away from us. The universe brought it to an end. Then we tried to find where we were responsible. What aspect of ourselves, or what did we do, what part of our behavior played a part in that failure, in that end. And we haven't allowed ourselves to feel the emotional repercussions of that end, of that rebirth. And it's still going to come to its completion. It's still going to rise up and express itself. Yeah, cold water is a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver. I don't know. Every time that I've broken an addiction, because I've been an addict to many different substances throughout my life, and every time that I've broken an addiction, cold water is the key. Cold water has been the key. Like when I was a meth addict and I stopped smoking meth, then I went into the bush here. You saw the river. I tagged you in the post. So this was like 5 years ago. I went down there in the early hours of the morning, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and lay in that water, freezing cold. It was just the first week of spring. What year was it? 2018? Is it even 5 years? 4 years ago. Yeah, 2018, spring of 2018, and then I just lay there in the river for hours. Yeah. Building new habits instead. Yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't put any new habits to replace the old. To replace the cigarette smoking, I haven't really put anything else in its place. Oh dear, my bit rate is collapsing. Trying to think, what have I replaced it with? I haven't. What it's been for me is building old habits, going back to old habits without including the nicotine. That has been difficult. Like when I make music, when I take a break from it, I would usually smoke. So that's when I feel the craving. Like I'm making music and then I stop and I'm like, what do I do with myself now? Same with the art when I draw. Hey Jano. It's the same with when I draw. It's like every time that I want to sit back and like observe the picture for a moment, I want to light a cigarette. Yeah. 1 Mississippi 2. 1 Mississippi 2. I'm counting my ping. And check and see if I'm in sync. I've got a new mouse that kind of works from here, but doesn't really. My brother gave me this mouse. I can't see which one is which. Okay, the sync is pretty close. It's like very close. Divine Lioness and Shane Walker, welcome. So I've seen you, Shane Walker, before in chat. Welcome back. Divine Lioness, welcome. You seem to be first time face and name. Warm welcomes to you. So the way it works, just ask a question to get a tarot reading, basically. I'm giving away 3 card readings for free. 1 reading per viewer. Yeah, as you can see, that donation there, that tip, suggestion will get you 6 cards, but it'll do more than that. It will also skip the queue if there is one, and it'll get your name added to that raffle because there's a little giveaway for a tarot deck. Of course, Elisa, just go ahead and ask your question. Jano says, I'm doing okay, been feeling a bit odd in waves during this retrograde. Divine Lioness says, will I be happy if I move away with Josh? Will Kira express her feelings for me? Okay. So Jano was the first one to ask for a reading. That's the first question that I'm seeing in the chat. No, Shane Walker. Shane Walker first. Then Divine Lioness. Yeah, and then Jano. Okay. Cool. So I will do these readings for you guys. Sometimes I intuitively do a 1-card reading along with a pendulum swing, pendulum dowsing for a clear yes or no. Shane Walker, general advice. Where is Shane Walker? Connecting. In the last stream I experimented with a new deck. 10 of Cups for Shane Walker. 10 of Cups. That card is reversed. So 10 of Cups, as I was just interpreting it, is a similar vibe, except you've already gone through it. I was saying the 10 of Cups was talking to us generally about how so the universe has brought certain things to an end for us, and we haven't truly allowed ourselves to experience the emotional percussion of that. But yeah, so the peak of it, the full expression of that emotion, whether positive and negative, there's both, there's positives and negatives, is still yet to show itself in completion. But this card is for you, Jano, saying that's already happened. It's like in the past for you. Not Jano, sorry. Shane Walker. Shane Walker. It's in the past for you, that expression, that experience. Things came to a close in the last couple of months, and it was outside of your control, and you didn't allow yourself to experience the full repercussions of it, the full emotional aspect of it, and that started to have an impact on your daily life in ways that you couldn't really understand, and then it expressed itself fully. So that would have probably looked like, you know, crying. It could have looked like screaming into a pillow or punching your blanket in your bed. It could have looked like that. Yeah, that's how it usually looks for me when I get a 10 of Cups in reverse. But moving into the present. Princess of Discs in reverse. Okay. So this is suggesting that you work on your teamwork skills. You like develop your teamwork skills, because in your relationships, this is specifically talking about like sexual relationships, and not only sexual relationships but also colleagues and like work relationships. Discs is about the physical world, so that's like physical relationships, like physically sexual, that kind of thing, and also physical as in working together to create financial security and abundance. So that applies both to your relationship and to like work relationships. And it's saying you're not so flexible, you don't like to be flexible with other people. They have their own idea of what they consider to be a priority and what they consider to be essentials. You know, when you're budgeting, they have, this is essential, this goes to the top of our list of priorities. And you're like, that's not essential. And you struggle to be flexible with them, and they struggle to be flexible with you. So it wants you to have a look at that and try to be more flexible and allow your process to complement and support others. You know, you want to find compromises, a middle ground where you guys can meet. That's in work and at home. More than that, it's also talking about like a lack of boundaries, that there are certain boundaries that are being crossed in the workspace. Certain people are saying or doing things or giving you work or having expectations of you that's not aligned with your character. You don't want that. It's like a boundary, like this is actually where I draw the line, but you're not communicating it. Also similarly in the sexual bedroom, one or both of you are experiencing things that you're not so happy with in the bedroom. Like in the sex life, maybe one of you gets hurt but keeps quiet about it. Maybe there might be discomforts or aspects of the interaction that's not pleasant for one or the other partner, and it's not being spoken about. So that card wants you to look at that, turn it around, communicate all those things, set those boundaries, and compromise for one another. Future interval is 9, the Hermit, in reverse. So this card says to you, self-reflect. As a result of seeing all of this stuff, you're going to be self-reflecting. You're going to be looking at yourself, how you've carried yourself throughout this work period. You know, you've been working for this company for so long, or you've been doing this thing for so long, you've been in this relationship for so long. Just looking back on that whole period and like trying to acknowledge where you were at fault, where you did things that hurt others, also where others did things that hurt you, looking at it realistically, not trying to put blame or trying to judge, just looking at it realistically, taking responsibility for your part to play in every situation, whether it was positive or negative. Now this card in reverse, it says to you, be mindful, because in the past, when you have self-reflected, you have kind of had a tendency to blame the environment for your mistakes and your failures, instead of taking responsibility for it, and at least seeing your part to play in it. You're like, oh no, it was because of Mercury retrograde, or it was because of this, or because of that it sucked and I failed to communicate clearly. And yeah, ignoring your own part to play, because yes, maybe those things are true, but you still had a part to play within it. And when it comes to your successes, then saying, oh no, it was because I had support over here, I could never do it alone, downplaying your successes. The issue with this is that when you do that, when you blame the environment or downplay your success, then you can't avoid repeating the mistakes, and you can't reapply your methods to success. So it just wants you to be mindful of that and turn it around again, so that you can see yourself clearly. So I don't really feel like Shane Walker was here. I feel like Shane Walker ran away or got disconnected or something. But anyway, doesn't really matter. Next up we got Divine Lioness. Are you still here? What advice do the spirits have for the Divine Lioness regarding this upcoming move and present circumstances, present relationship? Okay, so I'm already getting a message here, and that message is that if you are happy in the relationship where you are, then you can be happy when you move away. Oh, you're welcome, Shane Walker. I'm glad you were here and you were able to hear the reading. Yeah, so the message I'm getting for you, Lioness, is that if the relationship is good, like if you guys have a healthy, strong, interactive relationship as it stands, then that will be the case wherever you go. It doesn't matter if you're at home or if you move to another city or another country or another planet. If you guys are strong and healthy as it stands and happy, then you can take that happiness and that strength with you anyway. If it's not, if you have a shit relationship and it's miserable and you're unhappy, then moving somewhere else, you're going to be miserable and it's going to be shit there in that place. And it doesn't matter how many times you move. If you have a terrible relationship as it stands, you're going to carry that terribleness wherever it is that you go. But here we go. Will you be happy if you move away with Josh? So the pendulum is answering with a yes. That forward and backward swinging is a yes. Although it's It's very slow. It's very gentle rocking. I would usually interpret a gentle rocking as saying like you won't be able to benefit from it, but that does not really apply to this context. What is that saying? Okay, it's kind of saying that at first you're not going to feel very happy. At first you're going to be very homesick. You're going to feel a lot of depression because you're like going to notice how all of your relationships from where you are now start falling away, start collapsing. People don't stay in contact. I mean, I know, I've traveled quite a bit. Whenever you move, and people you knew, maybe one or two of them will stay friends. The rest of them disappear. Never hear from them again, never see them again. So there's going to be like depression and adapting to that and homesickness, lots of it. But yes, you will in time be happy there, and you will find happiness, and you will rebuild new relationships, and yeah, you'll find that the place isn't as bad as you think it is. Like right now you're saying it's a place you really don't want to go, that's your conflict. So when you get there, you're going to realize this place isn't all that bad. It's as good as any other place you might have wanted to go to or didn't want to go to. But the tarot has something else to say as well. Tarot has a Queen of Cups for you. So that Queen of Cups is saying any expectation you have will lead to disappointment. Like if you're expecting to be happy there, you're expecting it to happen a certain way or look a certain way, or you're expecting a certain kind of lifestyle that's going to take place when you move, it's going to lead to disappointment. And if you're expecting the place to be shit and yourself to have a shit experience there, it's gonna be shit and you're gonna have a shit experience there. So the advice that this card has for you is to let go of any attachments or expectations to the outcome. And that your happiness and your contentment comes from inside, is not reliant on the environment. Hey Exclaim, welcome back. I'm good, and you? How are you? Will Kira express her feelings for me? Jaina, why don't you express your feelings for Kira? Good. You tried to talk about your trauma with your parents, but that's a dead end. It's not a dead end. Exclaim. It was the right thing to do. Whether they received it or not, whether it had the outcome you expected. You know, just like this card was saying to Divine Lioness, you had an expectation of how it was going to go. The tarot said to you, your next step for your inner resolution is to communicate this with the other people involved. And then you had an expectation on how that was going to go down, and it makes you feel like it was a dead end or a disappointment, but it wasn't really about them or their response. It was about you. It was about resolving the issue inside of you. Cool, I'm going to read for you now, Jano. I'm just noticing Elisa's question for the first time, which says, I have this feeling that I'm disconnected from my soul, or that my soul is compromised due to something I chose unwisely. Is that truly so? Can I recover my connection to the essence I used to feel? That's very interesting. Sometimes I feel the same way, Elisa. Sometimes I feel very much the same way. Exclaim says, but I've understood pretty dark stuff about it, my father. That explains his experience and his reaction. Yeah, well, you can't really convince him. You understand it, but you can't expect him to see it from your perspective. You can't force him to see it from his perspective. You know, if you read the oracle, okay, you can't because you're on Twitch, but the oracle for today is basically your friends and family do things that irritate and vex you, notice that you do the same. You know, they'd hardly ever agree with you on anything, but they are irritated and vexed by your antics and your advocacy as well. So stop. You know, you don't have to force anyone to see things from your perspective, and you don't need to allow anyone else to force you to see from their perspective. You don't have to convince anyone, and you don't have to allow others to try and pressure you into seeing things their way. You can live and let live. Yes, please, Godslick, I would love to know what you saw, and I will answer your question for you, Elisa. But first I must read for Jano. What advice does the tarot and the spirits thereof have for Jano regarding his relationship and his expression of his affections towards Kira? Kira. That's what I'm looking for. You have to go, just came to say hi. Fantastic, look at you working on a Sunday. Go. You go. Thanks for popping in. Sorry if the advice was unsolicited. On behalf of Jano, will Kira express her feelings? Okay, so it's a very, very subtle movement back and forth, but it started with an anti-clockwise rotation. So back and forth movement is a yes. The anti-clockwise rotation is saying it's not going to happen anytime soon, and it's not going to happen in the way you're expecting. It's kind of saying that she's already expressing her feelings in subtle ways, in subtle hints and subtle suggestions, in very subtle ways. And so she is expressing her feelings, but it's not what you're hoping for or what you're expecting. And this is why she's reluctant to use her tongue. So just pay attention to her actions and her body language, because she is expressing herself, and it's not really what you want to know or want to hear. Yes, look at that, the moon, shattering of illusion. Yeah, the moon card is all about having the illusion shattered. So it's like having these ideas or these thoughts about a situation and getting so excited about it, and then having it shattered and realizing that that's not actually the reality in front of you. But it's not a negative card, it's the right way around. I guess it's kind of saying that the feelings you have, like the anxieties you have, the fears of failure, the fears of rejection, those thoughts, those are the illusions that are going to be shattered. Godslick says, spiritual sexual energy with her. I saw the blonde hair, it seems like a small face, like a kid's face, and afterwards I saw that kid having bluish yellow paint on the face. The hair was quite long, and I also saw something personal with that pink hair person. You seem to share some kind of spiritual sexual energy with her. Not sure what that's about. I'm sorry, that's what I saw. I don't know what it means. It's very interesting, Godslick. It's very interesting, and I must consider it and interpret it. But thank you very much for sharing what you saw. So the kid had blonde hair. That's very interesting. I don't really know a kid with blonde hair. Hair was quite long. Blue and yellow paint on the face. Blue and yellow paint. Interesting. So that was Jano. Next we have Elisa Manzini. Yeah, basically, that's kind of what I'm getting from this reading, Jano. I also feel like there's some kind of resistance, like whatever she's feeling, even if it's positive, there's something that's a higher priority than a relationship, and there's something there that keeps her from expressing her feelings, or it's like she's conflicted. She's like, I feel this, should I go for it? But then I also want this, and I'm working towards this. Is it compatible? It's kind of like the energy that I feel. Of course, you may be added to the list. So we got Elisa up next. And Elisa says, I feel like my soul has been disconnected. So yes, I feel that. There are, like I was talking about, addiction, and addiction is just, that's the most timid of the darkness from my recent past. So there are things that happened, and things I did, and things that were done to me that sometimes I feel like I've disconnected from my soul, and I will make progress. I will start moving in a healthy direction. It's up here, it's like a paradigm, it's like a reality. I see the world through this healthy paradigm, this loving, compassionate paradigm, and then it like relapses, and I go back into a very dark paradigm, and the whole world is very dark from that perspective. Now my behavior doesn't change all that much. I don't relapse in the way that I start taking drugs again or whatever, but it's like psychologically I go back to that state of being disconnected. And I wonder about that. Like, will I ever recover from that? Will I ever be able to fix it? Or will I always keep slipping back into that dark space? Okay, I consented to a healer I trusted to clear my soul contract with my ancestors and then my parents. She told me for my highest good. I felt that was my path to clear, and on whom I said yes to her. And on a whim I said yes to her. Screen seems to be frozen. Okay, I'll fix that now. Thank you for pointing it out. I haven't felt the same since. I asked her to undo what she did, but she took it personally, and now I feel listless inside, like I'm disconnected, torn my power and gifts and meaning. Okay, I'm gonna check on this screen. Yeah, it's disconnected. Should be back now. Okay. Sorry about that. Welcome, Mr. Subin. So, disconnecting oneself from one's ancestral soul contracts. It could be liberating, and it could also be isolating at the same time. Like when we were doing a reading for Godslick the other day, I saw that he had a necklace with 3 ancestral skulls on it, which implied, and I interpreted that to mean that he could tap into these 3 bodies of ancestral wisdom. He could connect to those spirits and channel their wisdom and channel their knowledge and their gifts. That would also come with certain expectations. Like for me, in my ancestral line, all of the ancestors that I've connected to are Masonic. They are Freemason. So there are certain expectations that come with, their guidance. They expect it to happen in a very Masonic, structured, secrecy, ceremonial fashion. So if you are disconnecting your soul contracts from your ancestors, it would, yes, you might not be able to tap into the gifts that they have to give or the guidance they have to offer, but you also sever the expectations. So you're kind of like a clean slate from that point onwards. You can go forward and carve a new, an entirely new dynasty, for lack of a better word, a new ancestral line, new bloodline that's not influenced by anything before you. You felt it upon you to bring their gifts to light, however you could. Not to do this process artificially like that. Well, I don't know what it looked like, artificially, as you say, surgically. But ceremony, like doing a ceremony, whether it's before or after a thing, it's like an initiation. It's like an initiation. So, if I say to myself, I want to start working through the curses that have come down through my bloodline. So, when I talk about curses coming through the bloodline, I mean like things like addiction. That's something that has plagued my family for generations, and it has killed many in my family line. So for me, breaking through addiction is like, it's breaking that curse. So if I choose that, right, that doesn't necessarily mean that anything starts to change. Like, I might still be an addict. I'm still going the same route that they all went before me. I'm still very much within the parameters of my bloodline and its curses. Even though I've consciously said I want to do this thing, I should be doing this thing, nothing's actually happening. And then I do a ceremony to initiate that process. The ceremony is like bringing in guides, bringing in astrological principles, bringing in gods and spirits to say, hey, this is important and I don't really know where to start, so push me in the direction that I need to go to have this, to set this in motion. I really hurt my back as well. I was doing so much work. I wonder if this can be recovered and undone. So yes, your back can heal. But can this process of severing the ties be undone? No. No, every word you speak, every step you take changes your reality and the universe forever. You can't go back to the way things were before you touch something. You can't put toothpaste back in the tub, you know? That's very much how words work, how actions and ceremony and spells are. Yeah, that power, lessons and legacy is now gone, and you don't want that. That's a difficult one. So let's see what advice the tarot has for you on this topic. Okay, I'm still here. I thought maybe I'd been disconnected again. It's not so bad when it's just the screen that freezes. It sucks when everything gets disconnected. Then I'm talking and I'm talking and I'm talking and nothing is happening. Okay, so we've got number 5, the Hierophant first, and this is kind of confirming to you that she was not exactly the example you should have been following. Her advice is not exactly the advice you should have been following. So you wanted growth, you wanted evolution, you wanted something to shift, and then taking her advice was you like reaching too far. It was trying to doing something drastic to accomplish something that didn't require such a drastic measure. In this card, it basically just says to you, you gotta learn, you gotta live and learn. In the future, you follow your own inner guidance, you follow your own intuition. before the example of others. You be the example that you want from others. That healer that you want to trust, you be that healer that is trustworthy. Hey Jess. 5 of Swords in the present. So this one is talking about your spiritual abilities, your spiritual legacy. What is the other one? Intuitive nudges, your intuitive knowings. It's saying that these things are not gone, and you can still develop them, and you are still developing them as you move forward one step at a time, learning from your mistakes. You are still developing them. So there are aspects of your ancestry that are now severed and that can't come back, but you still have a lot. Your soul is still intact. Your spirit is still very much present. You, like the spirit that is you, you will be an ancestor for those who come after you. Yes, there are ancestors who came before you who are no longer there, but not all of them, and you still have guides. You still have the guides that are assigned to you. You still have familiar spirits, other spirits in nature, fairies, that reflect your own spirit, that are similar in character, similar in spirit to you. Future interval is number 19. So this is a little bit of encouragement, saying to you that yes, you followed an example that wasn't exactly the example you should have followed, took advice you shouldn't have, did something that caused some harm, but in the future, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and this card, the Sun card, is saying authenticity is what's on the horizon for you. Like, there's no aspect of you now that is obligated to exist according to ancestral demands or ancestral expectations. You can be entirely authentic and unique to you, and you will be. And that authenticity will give, it's like the sun which radiates energy to our planet and gives our planet its potential to bring forth abundance and life the way it does. And you will be like that in your life. Your projects and the people in your life will receive inspiration and success and potential as a result of your authentic being. And this authentic being is unlocked because of what you've done. Yes, some things you lost, but there are many things to gain from it as well. Even though you haven't gained it in the present, thank you for the follow, it's on the horizon to be gained. Things that you wouldn't have discovered otherwise. The joyful moon. Welcome. May I be added to the queue? Says Miss Kokobe. Of course. Subin, please don't spam. Cards please, cards please, cards please. The first time you said it, you were in the queue. No, your intuition is not gone now, as the cards showed me. That 5 of Swords in the present was saying that it's not gone. Maybe there were aspects of your intuition that were nudged by certain ancestors or certain spirits. Yes, there are aspects of your intuition that are nudges from spirits. Yes, some of those spirits are now gone, but not all of them. There are many that are still there. Some of the ancestors have had to step back, but not all of them. And you still have your guides, and you still have familiar spirits. They are still familiar spirits, whether you know any or not. I'm sure you do. Don't you have a cat? Amazing. Thank you. Ankita Moore, welcome. Your voice is so effective, says the Joyful Moon. Loved it. Emerald Mint, welcome. Thanks for the follow, if that was you. Look at that, and a tip. Amazing. I'm gonna have a look and see what tip you just sent me. Was it something about, like, combing my hair in a different way? I'll give you some good tips about your hairstyle and hair maintenance. Nice, thank you so much. I join, says Emerald. Okay, cool. So the Joyful Moon and Emerald Mint, you're in the queue. Got you. I had Elisa, and who was after Elisa? I think it was Godslick. And then Godslick was also giving me a reading. Of course you can. You can still. But honestly, it is you. You must hold yourself accountable, not your ancestors. Your ideal self holds yourself accountable. Ankita Moore, welcome. And oh, we just saw you on YouTube, and now you're back on the side. Godslick says $5 is worth about $100 to me. Being a young guy, money is kind of hard for me, but I hope you do something useful with the $5. I will. You know, I will change the world with that $5. It's worth about $100 to me too, because I have very little living expense. So $5 goes a long way, and in my currency it's worth even more. In my currency it's like it's like almost 100 rand. Yeah. Can do a lot with 100 rand. And feed me for a week. So Godslick says, I saw blonde hair. It seems like a small face, like a kid's face. Then afterwards I saw that kid having bluish yellow paint on the face. The hair was quite long. Okay, kid's face, blonde hair, blue and yellow paint, blue and yellow. They together make green. Blue, serenity, creativity, emotional value. Yellow, pride, will, grace, judgment. Together making green. Interesting. And this is on the face, the countenance. So the face, it depicts it. This is a child's face, an innocent face, that expresses itself through creativity. Thank you so much for the tip. Expresses itself through creativity, grace, and strength. Having a look. So Mary Bliss is added to the raffle, and Mary Bliss skips the queue with a priority tip. So Mary Bliss, confirm for me who you are in the chat. Okay, awesome. Okay, so if you have a question, I will read for you regarding that question. Sorry, Godslick, you'll be next again. The $10 is priority, and you also get added to the raffle, Emerald. So that's you're now in that list with those 2 names up there. There will be 3 names next stream, and basically on the 21st of June, I will put all of those names in a jar and pick one, and that one I pick wins a tarot deck. I'll contact the winner to get hold of like their deets, so I know where to ship the deck to. I haven't really chosen which one it would be. Give me some suggestions. I have some ideas, but I haven't chosen anything. Anything that comes out, please. Okay, cool. Hey, Fireball Barney. So I just want to confirm, Emerald, that Adrian is the name of the guy who is making that background music. My name is Karin. Just want to confirm that. No, that's not my first name, it's my second name. My first name is Joshua, but I switch it around. For fun. I like it that way. No problem. No problem. Fireball Barney, we can most certainly talk. Reading for Emerald. Connecting to you, Emerald. What do the spirits want to say to Emerald? So I'm drawing a 6-card spread for Emerald. I've placed down general, about, present. That's the first card. Second card I drew is crossing, which is basically how and why the present ended up the way it is. Conscious mind, what your conscious mind is fixating on. Unconscious process, what you're processing that you're not even conscious of. Things that are affecting you and your reality that you might not even be aware of. Past intervals, where you've come from, things that are closing. Future interval, things that are opening up. And it's also like a key on how you can unlock the future you desire. Wild card, this card jumped out of the deck. It is the Ace of Discs. So, you know, Ace is about communication, Discs is about the physical world. I often read this card as like marketing, to do with marketing. It's saying you should be talking about your value, the value you have to offer. Like you have a product or a service or something that you can give to the world and receive value in return for, and you're omitting it. You're like, maybe there's some shame attached to it. I feel like there is, like asking for something in return for the value that you have to give. There's some shame attached to that. And also there's a sense of inadequacy there, a sense of self-doubt, like what you have to give is not really valuable to others. So you omit it or you keep it to yourself, only speaking about it if you're really pressed and questioned. And this card, it wants to say to you, turn that around, because you are valuable. And what you have to offer to people, even if it's just advice, even if it's just a hug, it's valuable. And people want to give you value in return. If you are offering value to people in whatever form or shape it is, you will receive value in return, even if it's not like a fixed price, even if it's not a service that you're actually offering, although this is talking about your security and your finances. It just wants you to acknowledge your own value, basically, that you have value to give and that others want to give you value in return. Screen is not frozen again, Godslick. Let's turn these cards over here. The universe in reversed. Okay, so in the present, you are you've got ideas in your mind, you've got a way that you see your reality. You're like, this is how I want to be living, this is the future I want to be in, and you acknowledge that you have to take action in the present to make that future a reality for you. But when you do, there are certain aspects of your shadow self, parts of you that you're not necessarily proud of, things like procrastination, ADD maybe, easily distracted, that come up and seem to get in the way. They seem to make it impossible for you to take the action that's required of you before you can see this vision in your mind become a reality in your present. So, you know, the future doesn't happen to us. We reach out and we see the future in our minds. It's the only place we can see it. And we reach out and we take that vision and we bring it little piece by piece into the present. And so you're trying to do that. You're trying to reach into that vision and make your reality look the same way. As within, so without, as above, so below kind of vibes. But then, yeah, it's like I open up my laptop, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write. And then I see, oh, I've got 5 notifications on Facebook. And that takes me on a huge ass rabbit hole. And I end up doing no writing in 4 hours. That's kind of what the universe reversed is talking about. It's like that kind of vibe, but it's not so bad. This card, the advice it has for you is saying that every time that happens, you just notice it and you work around it next time. So I notice, oh, I spent 4 hours on social media in a rabbit hole and I was supposed to be writing. Next time, I'm not going to use this computer for social media. I'm going to move social media to another device, and I'll use this one exclusively for writing, and I'll take all, like any shortcuts that might take me to social media or games or whatever it is off of my screen. And I will go only to WordPad, or I'll go only to Microsoft Word, or I'll go only to Medium or whatever. Those are my shortcuts on this device now. So working around those shadow parts of yourself, noticing what it is that gets in the way, what aspects of your environment trigger the shadow, and bring up those parts of yourself that get in your way, so that you can minimize those distractions, minimize those triggers. Crossing card, Queen of Cups. So here the Queen of Cups she's standing on the edge of a pool of water, and she's looking into the water, but the reflection is like marred, it's blurry. There's a swan that stands beside her, gracefully standing on one leg. She has a lotus flower in her right hand, so the lotus flower is a symbol of like life, it's a symbol of the potential for life. The swan is, as I said, a symbol of grace and beauty. So she is these things. She has this great potential for life and abundance, and she is a symbol of beauty and grace. And then she looks into the water. That is symbolic of expectations, looking into other people and having expectations, expecting them to reflect that, expecting them, if you display grace, expecting them to display grace. Expecting, like, okay, you start a project, expecting it to have a certain outcome. That's what this card basically talks about, and it says that kind of thing leads to disappointment, because when other people behave in a certain way or say certain things, they're not doing it for the reasons you would expect of them. If you had to say those things or do those things, you would have reasons, whether it's positive or negative actions or words, you would have reasons. Other people might do or say the same things with different motivations. So you can end up disappointed, let down, and hurt by having expectations of people. And you will always end up disappointed if you expect your environment to behave a certain way. If you have a goal or you set something in motion and you expect it to happen a certain way, now whatever your intentions are, you can manifest it, and the universe will help you get there. Universe and the spirit is waiting to manifest the things that you desire, just waiting for permission from you. But it never happens the way we expect. So if we go around with expectations on how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen, we will be disappointed, and we can risk missing out on the abundance that is given to us because we're expecting that abundance to look a specific way. So that's your crossing card, and it's affecting your present. It's how your present ended up looking the way it is. So that's kind of saying to me that the reason you keep on feeling this like backtrack or this resistance or distractions and come in and keep you from manifesting, that keep you from creating your like the vision in your mind, keeping you from creating your reality the way you envision it or would prefer it, it is mainly expectations, like expecting things to happen the way that you want them to happen, or the way you prefer them to happen. Having expectations not only of others, of the outcome of the environment, but also of yourself, expecting yourself to function a certain way instead of accepting that you function the way you do and working with that. Conscious mind is the Five of Swords in reverse. This is talking about overreaching towards your goals. This is saying that you're doing more than you're capable of, or you're trying to do more than you're capable of. It's like you've got a destination here. This is your goal, your outcome, and you're over here, and you're trying to jump all the way from here to there, and you're missing the mark. You're hitting other things. Lots of backtracking, lots of frustration, lots of pain. You need to find a point in between. You need to jump to a middle point and then jump up there. Basically what this card wants to say to you is whatever your goals are, whatever you're trying to study or learn or research, or whatever your goals are, take smaller steps. You don't have to cram 5 hours of study, 12 hours of study in a day. Do what you can, work with what you can and with what you have and with what you know. Because pushing yourself too far, a good example when it comes to studying is that there's only like a 2-hour window where you actually absorb information. Well, that's for me anyway. if I read and study, there's only a 2-hour gap where I'm actually going to be absorbing information. Anything after that, I will forget, and I'll have to do it again tomorrow. I'll read it and be like, did I even read that yesterday? Yes, the bookmark is here, so I read all of that, but I don't remember anything beyond the 2-hour mark. I check my notes, and I'm like, I made sense of all of this, but I don't remember any of it. So that's 5 of Swords for you. Take smaller steps, work with what you have, and work at the rate you can, at the pace you can. Unconscious mind. So things that you're processing that are affecting your present, that are affecting you, and you're not even aware of it, and that is a shift. It's a change, it's adjustments in your outcome. You previously had different goals, whatever it is that you're studying now or researching. I don't feel like it's studying. Maybe you are have taken up something to study, but I feel like it's just research. You've got goals, and it requires that you learn a certain amount of stuff in order to reach those goals. So they weren't always your goals. That wasn't always your plan or your outcome. You had other plans, you had other outcomes, you had other ideas. And then at some point you made a choice. You were like, I have this idea of life that I want to create, like we saw with the universe card. So I'm going to let go of certain ideas, certain plans, certain goals that don't serve that specific outcome, that specific future. I'm going to take up and adapt new ideas, new goals, new study, new research topics that are aligned with that outcome. So your unconscious mind, your thoughts in your dreams, your emotional being is all processing that shift. It's processing all the things you've let go of and all the new things you've picked up. It can get overwhelming at some point, but in the present there are things that go wrong, or you feel things in your body and you don't really understand why it's happening this way or why you're feeling these things. It's because it's still being processed on an unconscious level. The changes you've made are you're still adapting to them. Your unconscious being is still catching up to the changes that you've made. Welcome, Suhana. Past interval is the Lover's card. It's the right way around. The Lover's card is a lovely card. It talks about deep, strong heart connections. And that doesn't have to be romance, doesn't have to be a romantic partner or a sexual partner. It could be a sister, it could be a son, it could be a friend. It's just talking about all of your deep, strong, intimate connections, whether platonic or romantic. It's saying that you had limitations on what you were capable of. Your worldview and your paradigm had limits. You were doing the best that you could despite those limits, but then through these relationships, all of them, all these deep connections and all these deep friends and family and friends and your son and your partners, past and present, that you've really been connected to, they've all given you pieces of the puzzle to overcome your limitations and evolve past them and do better than you did before. Future interval. The Moon. So this is a nice card. This is saying that any of those feelings of despair or hopelessness or inadequacy or self-doubt, all of that is an illusion. This card, I love this card. It's like, reminds me of that story of Moses in the desert. So in this card, there's like a pathway that runs through these huge waves. And they are the Egyptian gods of death. Well, it is, both of them are Anubis, but he stands on the left and right of this pathway through the waves. So that reminds me of Moses crossing the Red Sea. And if you read the scripture, before he goes into the Red Sea, before that all happens, and they hear the army approaching, they all are in despair, they're all hopeless, they're certain they're going to die, and they cry out to God and they say, what is wrong? Why did you bring us out into the desert just to kill us? Why do you bring us out? We have death in front of us and death behind us. What kind of cruel God are you? And God is kind of sarcastic in response, saying, why are you crying out to me? I have given you my staff, use it, hold it over the waters and part them. And basically the lesson I take from that is that you have all the tools you need. You have everything you need to overcome whatever obstacle you're faced with. So you've got the sea in front of you, you have the tool to split the sea open and pass through safely. So all of those feelings of despair and hopelessness, that is illusion, and that illusion is about to be shattered, and you're about to realize that you actually have the tools at your disposal to overcome whatever obstacle you're faced with, any obstacle, and whatever you're trying to manifest or create for yourself is within reach. You have what it takes to get there. And yeah, the universe is ready to help you. The universe is ready to part the waters for you. It's just waiting for you to actually take the first step, actually waiting for you to put a foot in front of the other and say, I believe that I can do this. Welcome Vibes TV. So that's your reading, and I hope it gives you encouragement and hope and value. And thank you very much for the tip you sent. I will be adding you to the giveaway raffle. Thanks for the follow, for the subscription. So did you send me the tip, Gonzlik? Thank you so much. I will. You know, I usually don't, but you've given me quite a bit of value. You've given me a reading, and you sent a tip. So Gonzlik, I will do it for you. You are next in the queue, so I will give you 6 cards. And you're welcome, Emerald. And thank you. So I'm going to be brainstorming on those symbols you saw in the waters, Gonzlik. I'm going to brainstorm on it as I was earlier, but I'm going to do it in private where I can dedicate all of my focus to interpreting it. You'll maybe send $50 in a week or a month. No pressure, bud. Thank you so much for the effort that you've made. $5 is quite a lot. It's a lot to me. It's a lot to you. I recognize the value in it. You know, even if it was 50 cents, I would recognize the value in it. Like, it's not actually about the number itself, it's about the volition, it's about the intention. So, reading for Gonzlik. I'm just reading generally for you, eh? Another 6-card spread for a good friend. I'm really curious about what's going on for you though, Fireball, for Barney. Okay, we'll go ahead and ask what your question is, Gonzlik. You're saying, how much would an average person earn in a day in your country? What is the minimum wage? The minimum wage is 200 Rand. And 200 Rand is like $18, $17. It's less than that. It's 14. It's like basically what I've made. Vibes TV, I am giving away free readings. The free readings are 3 cards and there's a queue. But if you want to get a 6-card reading, you can skip the queue by sending that $9 tip or more. Renuxor says lag. Yeah, well, it's weekend. What can I do about lag? Well, if you hadn't noticed, that is what is going on, because every time you mention my name or I start typing, the stream starts to stutter or freeze, so huge energies, and I'm very confused, but it's not my reading yet. Yes, Renox, so 17 a day is very low, but the cost of life is way beyond the minimum wage. This is a very poor country. It's a third world country, the Republic of South Africa, and very few people actually earn the minimum wage. Yes, it's law, but no one is enforcing that law. 10 of Wands in your present. Okay, Godslake says, all these people think I'm catfish. Like, what do they think of me when they assume I'm catfish? Ick. It's easy for you to say I look good, but this has happened so many times for me, like out of nowhere. Catfish. Catfishing. That just happens, when you look like a model, people think you took that picture off the internet or out of a magazine. They don't believe it's actually you. It's just one of the downsides of being model material. Catfish equals fake person. Thanks. Okay, so there's 10 of Wands in the present. Let me get back to your reading, Godslake. The 10 of Wands in the present is that you are... What's going on for you here? It's what you've done to others. So people are thinking you're catfishing. You have looked at other people and been like, oh, that's a catfish. Ah, fake. You've done a similar thing. You've had a similar attitude. 10 of Wands is about your own intentions coming full circle. So if you're experiencing selfish intentions from someone or mistrust from someone, have a look at yourself, because you probably have had those things towards other people. You probably find those same volitions, those same intentions are there in you, or have been. But you're also experiencing positive results. You've also had positive intentions, good volitions. You've also had selfless desires, like going into a relationship or helping someone out of a place of selflessness, out of a place of self-sacrifice, like you did today, sending me a $5 tip, giving me the reading. These are very selfless actions, and that is actually the truth of your character. Yes, maybe you put some negative, selfish intentions out there, but so is everyone. That card is mostly talking about you receiving selfless actions in return from others. So never mind, don't focus on the people who think you're a catfish. Look around you at the people who are actually giving to you value. Not necessarily money, but giving of their value, giving emotional value, support, spiritual value. Acceptance, love. Look for those things. Don't worry about the people who think you're catfishing. There's no value in that, and you can, they will see themselves eventually. Yeah, who hasn't done any crimes, Godsnick? I don't know anyone who hasn't done any crimes, myself included. Ace of Cups is crossing your 10 of Wands. This is discs, not cups. The Ace of Discs is about communicating regarding a physical situation. Like, if you are a hunk or if you're fit, that needs to be visible. Like if you've got a social media profile and you've got this picture of you as a model on your profile picture, and that's it. No other information on your profile picture. On your profile, it looks like a fake account. But if you have this picture of you like standing with your abs showing whatever, and your whole profile is about fitness and about self-maintenance and health, then people will take it seriously, will take it more seriously. Basically, this card is saying that the presentation you make, the things that you focus on in your communications should match the presentation. Like if you have a look at my profile picture is always art, and then what goes on in my profile, it's all focused around art and about supporting other artists. So what you're communicating should match the presentation of yourself that you give. Conscious mind is a Knight of Discs, and it's in reverse. So, did you switch schools? Because this kind of talks to me about like changing school, moving from one place of education to another. Or did you move schools because you moved home? That's it, you moved home. Yeah. So that card wants to say to you that the move, yes, you had to let go of a lot of things, like the old way of living, the old influences, old friends. You had to lose all of that stuff, the old comfort that you had. But this new place that you're in, the new school you're in, it opens up opportunities, it opens up for a new way of life. And that new way of life is actually more healthy and more aligned with who you are inside and who your family is. You recorded how people said you're catfish. Check your Discord. I don't remember my Discord password. Or maybe I do. I just gotta try, I guess. So 7 of Discs is in your unconscious mind. This is what's affecting you that's unconscious, that you're not even aware of. Things that you're seeing in your dreams. Things that you see in the scrying waters. Things that come up in your readings. This is to do with where you're going in life. Like, are you going to be a model? Are you going to be a sniper? Are you going to be a businessman? Are you going to be a marketing expert? Your mind is processing all of these endless possibilities that are in front of you. You're still young, so there's no hurry to choose one. But that card, it does have this bit of advice saying that as long as there are endless roads into the future, as long as there's all this endless possibilities, none of it will manifest. It'll always just be there endlessly in front of you. You will never have it in your present. Always be something in the future. You have to choose one of those possibilities. You have to choose one of those pathways into the future and start walking on it. Every day, putting one foot in front of the other, doing something that brings you closer to that outcome. That is the only way that you manifest those futures. And you can only choose one or two of them. You can't choose all the endless possibilities. You have to limit the opportunities to a few. And then you have to be consistent with it. You have to commit to it from that moment onwards. Because if you change direction, if you start moving towards... So if I'm here and I want to go to Cape Town and I start traveling towards Cape Town, and I get halfway and I'm like, no, I need to go back that way because I want to go to Port Elizabeth. I lose all the effort, all of the time and energy that I've invested into that road so far, and go back to the starting point. In the past, this is Princess of Swords. Princess of Swords. This is like... It's saying that recently, maybe when you first arrived at your school, or maybe before you left the last one, before you moved, you felt like there was approaching chaos. Like your education, or your goals, your life goals, or your relationships, there was ruin approaching, like all of those things were at risk. And the universe was going to burn it down, like you were in a building and the building was on fire, and you kept moving a little bit this way, a little bit that way to escape the fire, going higher up the stairs, going to the next floor, until you were on the roof and there was nowhere left to go, and the house was still burning and the flames were still getting closer. And then you were able to tap into your own creativity and in the creativity of others, and find solutions to the problems, find solutions to that approaching ruin, to overcome it. Those solutions came from within, but also from others, from relationship. 14 is very much about co-creating. It's tapping into your ingenuity with the help of others, brainstorming with others, being creative with other people. And that is what brings you into the present, where you're able to reap the rewards of intentions, of positive intentions that you've sown in the past. So that experience of co-creating and working in a group with other people, particularly when it comes to study, school, education, those seeds that you sowed then, that is what you are able to reap in the present. Yeah. I can't really see what exactly it's talking about, but I hope that you can. I hope you can see what circumstance in your life it's talking about. Future interval is the Ace of Swords. This is taking up a new project, having a new idea and setting it in motion. And the first thing you do when you set a new project or a new idea in motion is to communicate it, talk about it, write it down, plan it. That's the very first stage of creating something. So this is saying there's a new plan, a new idea, a new goal. In the present on this idea is formulating, this plan is formulating, and the next thing you should do to make it a reality is communicate it, is to go and talk about it with people who could support you or help you in doing that. Whether that's people who we're in a study group with, friends, or if that's family, maybe it requires physical, financial investment, talking to family, parents, people who can actually help with that. It has a bit of advice saying be mindful. There are some people who would want to get in the way, who would want to work against your efforts. So only communicate and be vulnerable with the people you know you can trust. If you know someone is untrustworthy, do not talk to them about it. If you know someone is trustworthy, talk to them freely. And if you don't know someone at all, then it's wise to mistrust them. You can give them small things. Tell them something that's not stagnation. Do they go and gossip? Because if they do, not trustworthy. Renoxor says, I got banned by some asshole streamer because I asked for a love reading and instantly started saying people who ask about their exes are perverts, etc. I said, what the fuck do you mean? And he banned me. Ish. Do love readings, you will do love readings. But if you're saying, what is A thinking of me right now, she won't do that kind of reading. She's not going to pry into someone else's thoughts. But certain circumstances, if it's your partner, if it's your husband, if it's someone you share a house with, yes, who are trying to pry into the thoughts of a married man because you like him, or a married woman, I'm not going to help you with that. I'm not going to swear at you and ban you though, but I do understand his frustration. Like, a lot of people come into the stream here that are vampires. I haven't had any vampires in a while, actually. You guys are all very interactive, good community members. Everyone who I've interacted with today. Strong community members, good character, understanding true value when you see it. But there are a lot of people who don't. There are a lot of people who will come into my stream every day, ask the exact same question, and get upset with the answer. Vampires, very much energy vampires. They never share the videos out, they never give any kind of support, they're not subscribers, they don't like the video, they're just here to get something, and they don't even know what it is they want. And their questions are always, what does this person think of me? Love readings. So I do understand his frustration. But yeah, I'm starting to glow, it would seem. Sorry about the lag, guys. It's evening time. People are using the Wi-Fi. It's weekend. People are using the Wi-Fi. I just want to say, Barney, if I can't make it to you, I'm sure I can, because we're only at an hour and a half. But if I can't make it to you for whatever reason, please message me, and I'll get to you. So Godslick, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. I already gave you a 6-card reading. I have to move on. Mr. Subin, are you back? Are you here? Oh yes, you are. Well, please confirm, Mr. Subin, because you're next. I'll give you those cards, please. After Mr. Subin is Miss Kokobay. So I'm gonna use the toilet quickly. I need a pee. Waiting for Mr. Subin and Miss Kokobay to confirm if they're still here. Yeah, it's a bit laggy, but like I said, you know, it's evening time, it's weekend. I just shared you out, host, came to show my support. Thank you so much, Miss Serenity. Is this Serenity of Soul from Twitch, or are you a new viewer? Renoxor says I literally lasted 3 minutes. He was cursing the whole time. Ish. It's less laggy on Twitch, says Renoxor. Amazing. Interesting. On Twitch it's very delayed. Interesting. We're back. Miss Kokobay had to leave. What YouTube channel is it? It's Cutting Joshua Kerr. I'll drop a link. Oh, I'm on a different laptop, so I don't... If I go to Facebook, I can get a link. So Miss Kokobay had to leave, and Mr. Subin is also gone. That's unfortunate. So let me see who is next, and then I'll get that link for you. So the joyful moon is after Miss Kokobay. And if the joyful moon is not here, then it's Ankita Moor. And after Ankita would be Fireball. So let's see who's here. Joyful Moon, Ankita Moor, and Fireball Barney are the next 3 in the queue, in that order. Vibes TV, you will probably be somewhere after Fireball Barney. I'll have a look in a sec. Oh, Mr. Subin is back. Okay, so Mr. Subin is the one to get a reading next. Where did you go? Okay, so Mr. Subin and then the Joyful Moon. That's the order. I can certainly do general love reading. Mr. Subin, you want a general reading too? General reading. Cool. Your last name is Talawar? There's like a 1 minute delay between when you send a message and when it reaches my end. When you see it on screen. That's terrible. That's terrible. General advice for Subin Talawar. Queen of Swords in reverse. So this card, it kind of says that you have been, this is coming to a close, but you have been spending too much time with your head in the clouds. Like you've got these ideas and they have a lot of potential, plans that you come up with, but you spend all of the time planning, all of the time coming up with ideas. Very little time applying your creativity to make those plans a reality. I see that in this card. The queen is sitting on a cloud and she's got all this creative energy behind her head, but it's like diffracted and spiking and it's going in every direction. So this card, yeah, it tells me that you have all of this potential, these great plans, great ideas, but spend all of your time creating the plan and coming up with the idea and never actually enacting the plan or the idea. So the advice this card has for you is the first thing you do is talk about your plan, not just talking about it in general, but actually writing down the plan and the steps and then following the steps in order. And yes, there will be, you will try and take a step and there will be resistances, there will be challenges, and you just got to acknowledge that your creative potential, the creativity inside of you, is how you overcome it. If you face with a challenge or an obstacle, you find a creative solution to overcome it, and you just keep on moving forward, as slow and as difficult as it might be. Present interval is Queen of Cups reverse, and this one says let go of any expectations, because you're hanging on to expectations. You want reality to play out a certain way. You want your plans to happen a certain way. You're waiting for everything to line up perfectly before you step out, and that expectation means you're always waiting. You're always waiting for things to line up. You're waiting for the opportune moment, and it never arrives because you're always waiting for it. Things never line up. More than that, also your outcomes, like when you have taken action or you have set plans in motion, then the result, the outcome, wasn't what you expected and it was disappointing. So this card is saying to you that it's always going to be a disappointment. Your outcome is always going to be disappointing, and things are never going to line up as long as you are attached to them being aligned. As long as you are expecting things to happen a certain way, you're always going to be disappointed. You got to let go. Got to let go and say it'll happen in the way that it happens. I'm going to work towards it, and I will get it in the way that I get it. And I'm not going to wait for it to happen a certain way. I'm just going to be grateful when I do get it. Number 18, the Moon, is your future card. This is about illusions. This card is like a warning to you. It says don't spin illusions in front of you, because yes, it's basically saying you're going to be met with like something that seems impossible to overcome, something that ruins all of your plans, something that seems to be a threat that ruins your whole life. And there will be thoughts of like hopelessness, of despair, of feeling stuck, of feeling stagnant, of feeling like there's no way out, and those things are illusions. So this card is saying to you, don't believe in them. Don't let yourself get caught up in those feelings of despair and hopelessness and delusion, because they're illusions, they're delusion. You actually have the creative potential you need. You actually have the tools you need. You actually have the potential that's required in order to overcome whatever obstacle it is, no matter how bad it might seem. And so allowing yourself to get caught up in feelings of inadequacy and feelings of hopelessness is illusion, and that'll make you stuck. The thoughts will make you stuck, not the obstacle. And that's your reading. So next was for Joyful Full Moon, general love reading. Sure, Subin, sure. Just reading through the chat here, some interesting conversation happening. So, general love reading for the Joyful Full Moon. Right, Emerald, if you're still looking for that that YouTube link, you can find it in the social links. It's like at the top of my channel. There's one to YouTube, there's one to Facebook, and there's one to Discord. No. DeviantArt? No. Medium? I think so. Yeah, all of my links. Discord will be in the panels, along with the donation links and stuff, and more information on the solar rig. Although that's basically done, by the way, guys. I still need a battery, but yeah, this week I'm actually installing this system. The pieces for it are laying right here. So solar panels outside, inverters right here, controllers right here. Yes, I still need a battery, but can actually start using it at this point with the parts I do have. General love reading. That's crazy. Thank you so much, Emerald, for subscribing and liking. It's crazy, Barney. It's crazy. So wild card, and put that down as your present for your general love reading as your past. 9 of discs. That's number 20, the first one I pulled out, the first one that fell out. It's Judgment, the Aeon. Future interval, 8 of Wands. Okay, so that 9 of discs, it's talking about reflecting on your past relationships. It's saying that recently you have been reflecting on your past relationships and past love, interests and whatever, and your part to play. So discs is about physical, so this is you reflecting on the physical space when you lived together, if you ever did, the physical aspects. So that's like physical intimacy, sex, security if you live together. Good night, Renoxor. It's talking about reflecting on that period within your past relationships. So you were taking responsibility, noticing your own mistakes, noticing your own successes. So when you said and did things that were constructive or healthy, when you compromised on your what you considered to be priorities and essentials for the sake of your partner, trying to find a middle ground on your budget and your lifestyle. Reflecting on when you took advantage sexually or when you were taken advantage of sexually. You're reflecting on all of those things. The point is so that in future relationships or in the present relationship, if you have one, you can avoid making your mistakes from past relationships, and you can reapply your constructive methods, things you did that supported or lifted up the relationship. In the present, with this number 20 Judgment card, this is like discernment. It's you using your clarity or arriving in clarity, separating healthy examples from unhealthy examples, even in yourself, healthy behavior from unhealthy behavior. Because there's a lot of people who are toxic, are toxic and manipulative in relationships. They won't take responsibility. When we look here with the 9 card, with the 9 of discs, they turn it upside down and they blame you, they blame the environment, they blame circumstance. It's never their fault. And they're manipulative. They convince you that they are right and you're wrong, and they kind of warp your sense of what is right and wrong, what behavior is acceptable and what is not. So this Judgment card is you in the present, reasserting your discernment, separating fact from fiction, remembering what is healthy behavior and what is not. And you're doing this by like applying it to yourself theoretically, like saying, okay, that example, I'm watching your behavior, I'm watching your words. Now if I apply that to my life, is that going to result in prosperity or is that going to result in ruin? And if it results in abundance and prosperity and healing, sure, that's healthy behavior. If not, if it results in ruin and detriment and backtracking, no, unhealthy behavior. It doesn't matter what you say with your mouth or how you justify yourself, I can see and discern that that is unhealthy behavior. So that's what's going on with you in the present, is that discernment. Separating fact from fiction, what is good, what is not, what is a good example, what is not a good example. Future interval is the 8 of Wands. So as a result of all this reflection, you're going to shift your intentions and your desires when it comes to relationships. And that is key to breaking old cycles and stepping into healthier cycles. After taking responsibility, seeing yourself clearly, after judging yourself and others and behaviors and separating fact from fiction, and arriving into that state of clarity, you're going to be able to see that your past desires, things you wanted out of relationships, are not actually compatible with the kind of relationship that suits you. The intentions you had when going into other past relationships is not actually compatible with the relationship you're trying to manifest into your life. So you're going to be shifting those things, letting go of those intentions, letting go of those desires, and formulating better intentions that are more aligned, formulating better desires that are more authentic. This will be attracting others who are on a similar frequency, and that is how you escape the old pattern and the old habits and the old cycles and step into a new one. Yeah. So basically what this card is saying is that whatever you're going through right now, all of this that you're going through now, it's making you It's bringing you closer to who you should be, so that you can have better and healthier relationships in the future. So on the horizon, there's still more changes to come. There's still more of this process to go through, more healing to go through. But once that's concluded, the people you attract into your life and the relationships that you form will be more authentic. Next in line is Fireball Barney. I think a card flew to my right, but that was a while ago. You're welcome, Joyful Moon. You are in the process of making the changes inside that are necessary to break the cycle. Hey Barney, Fireball. So what is up? No question. Okay. And then welcome Vic. I only noticed you arrived in the chat now. The chat was moving pretty quick at that point, and I was busy with the reading. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you again. So after Fireball Barney is Vibes TV. Help Barney see through the fog and contact the voice of wisdom. The first card I have here is number 8, Adjustment. She's reversed. Second card, the Universe, right way around, number 21. Future Interval, number 5, the Hierophant, reversed. I'm sure you have some idea. I'm sure some thoughts and ideas are popping into your head. Good. Okay, so that Adjustment card, it is being forced to let go of things. It's a recent occurrence. It's something that's past but recent, something that brings you into the present. So you're talking about confusion, but you did have an idea of where you were going and what kind of life you want to lead, what kind of person you want to be. And there were habits and aspects of your lifestyle that were not compatible with that. You were aware of some of them, you were not aware of all of them. And then circumstances, relationships, people, the universe basically presenting you with circumstances and people that are not compatible with those habits and that lifestyle. You know, it forces you to shift, forces you to let go of things you were clinging to, things that you knew were not serving you, but also some of the things that were not serving you that you didn't notice. And that was painful and difficult and frustrating, and you felt like, why am I being pushed so hard? Why can't I do this in my own time? Why is the universe giving me no choice except to adapt and change? But it was to bring you into the universe. It is to bring you into the universe. So in the present, you might feel confused and distracted, but you are still stepping out towards purpose. You've got all of these voices that are coming in from the side that are making you feel confused, but you're not allowing it to change your course of action. You're still taking the correct course of action, or this one here. This was leading you towards authenticity. The changes you were making were authentic to who you are. So that process of coming into that authenticity, you are still walking towards that. You are still stepping in that. There are voices of doubt. There are voices that are telling you to do other things, to change, that are confusing you, but you're not changing your course of action. You're not choosing a new direction. You're staying on the same road despite those voices, and that is healthy. The universe card is saying that is good. You can see that many of these voices, like if there's someone in your life who you talk to, and every time you talk to them they make you feel confused about your life and your choices and your beliefs and your relationships, that person is manipulating you. And you can see that. You understand that, yes, there's still that confusion there, but you can see clearly that that's what's happening, and so you don't change what you're doing. You keep pushing forward, and that's commending you, basically. This 21 card, the universe is commending you for that, saying, yes, you are on the right road. Keep on moving on that way. Keep moving in that direction. Don't let these voices of confusion and doubt deter you from what you have been doing. Keep moving towards that outcome. And the future interval is the 5, the Hierophant. That's talking about negative examples, unhealthy examples. So there have been unhealthy examples. There are still more unhealthy examples to come. Many people who pose as teachers, as seniors, who give an example and that they expect everyone to follow or conform to, or this is the way things are supposed to be. False teachings. It's kind of talking about teachings that that'll lead you backwards, not forwards, that don't result in growth. Examples that lead to pain and ruin, that don't lead to growth and progress. And that card wants to say to you, don't look for examples. Don't look for an example in me. Don't look for an example in someone else. You be the example. You be the example. What you want, you've been led by false examples in the past. You have followed people and you've ended up getting hurt. And you've followed people and you've ended up making progress. So you have a sense of discernment between what kind of character is going to be positive if you apply it in your life, and what kind of character is going to be negative. So you choose the example you're going to be. Don't look for it in me, don't look for it in others. I've been forced open for about 3 to 4 months now, and it's exhausting. Why do they refuse to let me close or ground? If I mention the black dragon, the dirt track road, the crooked path, what say you? I say the black dragon is only as dark as the white dragon is light. You will only feel vengeance and hatred and those shadow draconic frequencies as much as you can feel love and compassion. Here's an example. The reason I feel hatred or vengeance is because the things that I love and cherish are threatened. That's the only time that hatred will be sparked, is when those I love and those I cherish dear to my heart are threatened. And then the thing that threatens them is what I hate, is what I feel the hatred and vengeance towards. So they are not separate. The black dragon is not black and the white dragon is not white. They are polar opposites of one and the same dragon, which is you. Your emotional currents are your dragon. The dirt track road. The dirt track road. The dirt track road. All I can say is that when you walk on the dirt track road, you will be filthy. And it doesn't matter how many times you wash yourself or your clothes, every step you take on the dirt track road, you will get dirty again. And that filthiness looks like things like jealousy. It looks like things like lies, deceit. It looks like shame, self-doubt, fear. So every step you take on the dirty road, you will get dirty. I guess the lesson of that road is not to react. It's to remember what it's like to be clean, to remember that dirt is temporary. That only while you're walking on this road are you going to be dirty. That as soon as you step off of it, you can be clean. Not act out of the filth, not identify yourself with the filth. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Don't identify yourself with the filth. And the crooked path, you shouldn't be walking on a crooked path. You should be walking on a straight path. It's straight and it's uphill and it's difficult. I think you know. Like you said, you've been forced open for 3 to 4 months and it's exhausting. Yes, the road is ever upward. The mountain doesn't have a summit. The summit is there at death. Now, I don't know about a dark grimoire spirit, but every piece of information, all the knowledge is just a means to an end. All paradigms, all beliefs, they're all just means to an end. You should adapt your beliefs according to what you want to accomplish, and discard your beliefs according to what doesn't serve you and your outcome. If a belief is having a negative impact on your life, or your desires, or your outcomes, and your plans, throw it away. Try a different one. Okay, Vibes TV. Your question, if you have one. Cool, thank you. A lot of answers, but also more questions. Lol, I think I need to use your premium services, to be honest. You don't get paid until Thursday. Well, feel free to chat with me until then. Yeah, feel free to chat with me on Discord or on Messenger. I'm seldomly active on Discord these days. So Vibes TV, your question. Anyway, I'm glad you got answers though, Fireball. I'm glad that you got answers that make sense. And yes, you know, every answer leads to more questions. You are next, Vibes TV, you are next. So, your question whenever you're ready. Otherwise, I can do a general reading, no problem. General love reading. I'm inclined to, as a joke, you know, start ranting and swearing. What did you say? All you people who ask for love readings are... What's the word you used? Perverts. Fucking perverts. Having to look to see if there's anyone else on the queue, but no, you're the last one in the queue for today. That's good timing, and it's like we're 8 minutes over the 2-hour mark. Okay, so what general advice do the spirits have for Vibes TV regarding his or her love life? Okay, so I've got Judgment, the Aeon. JRA, I'm afraid my queue closed 8 minutes ago, and this is the last reading I'm giving for the day. But thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy to stick around if you're happy to tip, otherwise you can find me tomorrow. I don't know, I'll probably not be doing tarot tomorrow, but I will be online. Vibes TV says, I usually miss your streams when you are live. Sorry to hear that. Okay, so Judgment, the Aeon, in the position of the past. This is saying that you've endured a lot of unrighteous judgment, unjust judgment in your past relationships, in your love life. That's like been the cycle. A lot of judgment. And not, you know, earlier I was talking about righteous judgment, discerning between fact and fiction. That's healthy judgment, when this card is the right way around. Upside down is like saying, oh, you smoke, you're a bad person. I want nothing to do with you. Oh, you believe in witchcraft, you practice witchcraft, you must be evil, you must belong one of the devil's children. Want nothing to do with you. That's unrighteous judgment. And so this is the kind of frequency that you've been meeting with in past relationships. And it's coming from both sides. As much as you're being judged, you're also judging. Even if you're not speaking about it out loud, it's happening up here. So that card is just showing up to make you aware and saying part of breaking that cycle will be turning that around. If you are judging from a righteous perspective, where you're judging your own behaviors and others' behaviors, and you're not accusing or saying, oh, because you did that, you must be X, Y, and Z. No, judging instead saying, oh, you did that. I know that if I did that, it would have a terrible effect on my life, so I won't do that. You be you, though. That's healthy judgment. Present interval is a Six of Swords in reverse. So this card is saying that you have some good connections, some strong connections, perspectives. Swords is about education, not really intellect, not always, not specifically education. Yes, really education, but not specifically education. Study, intellect, goals, plans. It's saying that there are other people that you plan with, or other people that you research with, or that you have intellectual conversations with. Intellectual relationships. There are perspectives or opportunities for love connections and romantic connections among those people in that group. There are certain people that stand out to you as possibilities or options, or who you might have interest in, or who might have interest in you. But you often feel triggered by the things that they say. Like they know things that you don't know, and you know things that they don't know, but it seems that they tend to invalidate or not recognize the value in the things that you know because they know something different. So they feel like what they know is more important than what you know, even though it's equal value. So it makes the dynamic of that small circle a little bit tense. But it's still strong connections, strong relationships. Ah, and secrets kept. Interesting. Future interval is a Five of Wands. And it's reversed. So this card first of all says to you, don't try and leap too far towards your desires. Yes, you have these desires towards certain people in your life. Don't try and run for it, you know, take small steps. When it comes to relationships, it's like a seed. You have to plant it, and you have to water it, and you have to nourish it, and it grows slowly. So take it slow. And this card also says be mindful of intentions, your own intentions. If you're going to plant a seed for a relationship, check your intentions. Make sure that your intentions are for a relationship, long-term, healthy relationship. And if not, then be honest about the intentions, saying, oh, I want a quick fuck, you know? It's saying check your intentions and be honest about your intentions. Also, don't run too far towards your desire. Take it slow. Nourish the seed slowly once you have planted it. What else is it saying? It's also saying that you will be an influencer in your relationships. So be mindful of what you'll be teaching. You're going to be an example. Your example, your lifestyle, whoever your future partner is going to be, whoever it is that you plant the seed with and nourish, your lifestyle will rub off on them. Yes, they will rub off on you, but you more so. You will be the influencer. And that's your reading. Excuse me if I sound very much like a reprimanding dad when I give a reading. But thank you everyone. Thank you for your support and your views and your likes and your shares and all the follows I got. I got a whole bunch of follows and a whole bunch of shares. No, 1 or 2 shares. I got a whole bunch of follows and a whole bunch of subscribes, and I got 2 tips, and we had like, basically I've caught up. I said to myself, last week Sunday was the first week, I think. Yeah, that was the first time I streamed. This week Sunday, no, it's been 2 weeks now. Okay, yeah. The point I'm trying to make here is that I went away for 2 weeks. And I said to myself, is it going to take less or more time to reach the point where I was when I stopped, when I went away? And it's been 2 weeks and we're back where we were, so that's great. My link doesn't let you open PayPal. The link takes you to Streamlabs. Awesome, thanks Barney. So yeah, I can't really get my YouTube link at this point, but let me try. I'm trying to open YouTube. There we go. So I can see what's going on with your QYR97 is my PayPal name. I think so. It's my PayPal me, yes. Or my email address works as well. So the reason I've got the Streamlabs link up there is so that any tips and donations will affect this goal here. Because if you send a tip to my PayPal me or through my email, then it doesn't update, it doesn't show a notification on screen, it doesn't do all of those cool things. Thank you so much for the compliment, by the way, Akila. Your voice and music so soothing and healing. Now I just can't seem to access the description on YouTube. So let me check this one out though. That's right, yes. Okay. Okay, cool. Vibes TV, having a look at my notifications. Amazing. So you're in for the raffle as well, by the way. I'm doing a little giveaway to get to win a tarot deck. So yeah, you're in that. Your name is in that jar. It'll go up on over here with the other names. But cool. I'll do that 6 card for you now. Will you find past love or new love? Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna adjust your question a bit. I'm gonna ask the tarot how you can find yourself within, you know, authentic, fulfilling relationship, whether that be new or old. And then I will ask about, I'll ask for clarity, yes or no clarity. How can Vibes TV find authentic and fulfilling relationship? Cards jumping out. Art. Peace. Strength. Interference. Defeat. The Sun. So there are no coincidences. Chance decides where the cards end up when I'm shuffling. Cards, chaos decides, chance decides when it falls out. But okay, let's get some clarity here. Aquila says, "You're very welcome. I returned from a long trip and work today. Feeling rejuvenated. Just resting in your safe space. Much appreciation. Thank you so much for your recognition and you're most welcome." On behalf of Vibes TV, will he find old love? Pendulum says no. Side to side is no. Will you find new love? Forward and back is yes. Okay. The present card is art. So this is again talking about the people that you co-create with, your small circle. The people you interact with, that you support and who support you on every level. Intellectually, physically, emotionally. This little group of friends or this little group of people works well together. It's also talking about one person who stands out from the others. Someone who seems to fit like a like a counterpart, someone who seems to have all of the pieces that you don't have. And like, if you're working on a project, you have so much experience and knowledge that can go towards that, so much creativity, and you do what you can towards it, but then there's someone else who complements that process, who's able to say one word and it like expands your paradigm, and like, oh my god, thank you for that. That really transforms this in a healthy, good direction towards what I was actually trying to create. So it's just pointing that out, saying, look at that, that's not coincidence. And that person has a piece of the puzzle you don't have, and you have a piece they don't have. Yes, it's talking about one person specifically who stands out in that circle, someone new. Crossing card. Crossing card. It's 2 of swords. So, in the circle of friends, certain individuals, perhaps you, perhaps this person that Art is talking about, have received an opportunity to study something new. And they've reached out to claim that opportunity. And their means towards claiming it was perhaps a project. It was perhaps like a project they had to complete as part of application. And that application process is seen here. The creative process that this was talking about, it was like an application or a demonstration to get oneself in, to seize this opportunity for a new study, for new learning opportunities. So that might give you some indication as to who we're talking about here. Sounds like someone from your past. Well, look at the present, look at the future. Because someone in the present, someone linked to this friend circle group, and perhaps even you, is learning something new, is having an opportunity to learn something new, and through that process you are consulted, or the group is consulted for ideas or creative input. So look out for that. It's happening in the present. It's to do with new connections, people you get along well with. The new connection is someone you gel well with. 9 of Wands is in your conscious mind. This is conscious thoughts. So you're reflecting a lot on your past. You're thinking a lot about past relationships and your intentions in past relationships. You know, in our 3-card reading, we saw you needed to be sure of your intentions. So your conscious mind is busy with that. Your conscious mind is observing your intentions and what kind of results your intentions brought, and your desires, and how you work towards your desires, and in what ways you sabotaged your desires, and in what ways you did things that brought you closer to your desires and helped you manifest them, within relationships and without relationships, but all in the past. And the point of this is, so that you've got tools for the present and for the future, so you don't repeat mistakes from the past. Don't go into situations with the same intentions that brought you ruin in the past. Instead, applying your methods for success, things that brought you closer to your desires, healthy intentions. Unconscious mind is an 8 of Swords, upside down. This is things that are affecting your present, affecting your reality and your relationships, and you, that you're not even aware of, that are like unconscious. 8 is about shifts and adjustment and change. This is to do with your goals, your personal goals. Things have changed. You've had goals, you've had an idea of what purpose is, what your purpose is, And now, a note on purpose is that it's not something that's given to you divinely. You have a desire in your heart, and when you apply your will to accomplish that desire, you have set purpose. So purpose is something you choose. Yes, your desire might be innate. You might be born with a heart's desire. But the means you choose to get there, the way you apply your will, that's up to you. So that purpose, the goals, they have shifted and changed recently. And it wasn't something you chose. You didn't come to a place where you say, okay, I feel like these goals or this means that I'm using is not actually aligned with me authentically. I need to choose a different means to an end. No, it was like the universe brought you new circumstances that were not compatible with the means you had before, with your process that we're using in the past and the goals you had set and the way you accomplished them. It was not compatible with these new circumstances. You had to adapt, you had to change. And that is affecting your present, that's affecting your relationships, it's affecting your opportunities. And you might not even be aware that it's that is those changes that are affecting things. Past interval is 5 of Swords, that's where you've come from. So this is saying that you have been focusing on yourself, focusing on your own intellectual development and your own, like you say, trying to move forward, seeing what's new. That's what you have been doing, you know, putting one foot in front of the other, doing the best that you can, applying what you know and what you have towards your outcomes to the best of your ability. But that's coming to a close now. You don't need to hold your disc in your right hand anymore. You can put it in your left hand. Basically what I mean is that whatever it is you're working towards, whatever it is that outcome that you're trying to move towards, it doesn't have to be your primary focus anymore. It doesn't have to be where you dedicate all of your energy and all of your focus, because in the present you've got co-creation happening. There are other people who help you with that process. So it can become secondary. It's reached a point where it's not a risk to focus on something else. And I guess that's why you're asking me about love and relationships. Future interval is number 19, the Sun. It's in reverse. So this is saying that you can't go out of your way to please others, or to put on a face, or put on this character that you think your romantic interests will like or appreciate. You can't do that. It's going to take you backwards. It's going to drain you. It's going to make you feel exhausted and like you can't cope and keep things up. That Sun card, basically, you know how the Sun is the center of our solar system and our planets orbit it, and our planet, it's able to grow trees and plant life and human life and animal life because of the heat and the light and the energy from the Sun. It's basically saying you are that in your own life and in your circles. You are that center of the solar system that your close connections and your projects and your goals and your missions all orbit. And the people in your life receive inspiration because of your authentic existence. You existing naturally and authentically inspires the people around you. You existing authentically and naturally is what gives your goals their completion. It's what brings them to completion. It's what gives your creative projects their potential and their abundance. If you are deliberately trying to do things to people please, or to change who you are for the sake of pleasing someone, or you like someone and you think that they're not going to like the real you, so you put on a show or you change your behavior or character for their sake, that will drain you, and it will also take away. It's like you're shutting off that authentic value that was giving abundance and inspiration to your life and the people in it. You shut that off by becoming inauthentic, by starting to people please and deliberately put yourself behind. And yeah, it's a warning. It's saying don't do that, because you will find yourself drained. The road to unlock this future of being in a relationship that is authentic and fulfilling relies on you remaining authentic and expressing yourself authentically. Amazing. So the card is reversed as saying that it's a warning. You feel like you have healed and you are focusing on you now, but it is a past pattern. And the card in reverse just warns you that as you step into new relationships or as you meet people that you're interested in, you might find yourself unconsciously, or you might just notice that you're slipping back into that habit pattern of changing, of being inauthentic, of trying to please them more than focusing on being yourself. It's just a warning, saying don't lose the progress you've made. Otherwise, yeah, you lose out on authentic, fulfilling relationship. So that's your reading. Thank you so much for your support. For the tip you sent and for your patience. Yeah. I'll probably be doing an art stream tomorrow. I've been drawing a portrait and it's almost done, so I'll be continuing with that tomorrow. Now I have to go and feed all of the animals on the farm, and then feed myself and the humans. Love is probably the worst. Everything else is working within time. Well, you know what the blockage is there. You said it yourself. You would do the most for everyone, change who you are for everyone, people pleasing. That was the resistance to your love. Yeah, anyway, I'll probably see you tomorrow, or maybe not, but thank you so much. Peace.